look up and I thank him. Take him. I see chances, I take him.
Keep that beat, producer.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's the 7513. Come and see me. What you talking to? I'm not your mommy. Call me Poppy. Eating ramen noodles. Come through and you know my hair is nice just like a poodle. How y'all doing? What's up, y'all?
That's a Soulja Boy beat.
Soulja Boy, that is. Oh, man. Thank y'all for joining us again. It's 7513, the podcast. Wherever you're listening from, watching from, we really appreciate you for joining us again for another episode, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, all of that. We appreciate all the love and support we've had thus far, and we're back with another episode for you all. So before we get started, you know, we got to start with a round of introductions. The person on the mic speaking right now is your host, per usual. My name is Ike. Yeah. Thank you. And you know how I like to do. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. Who we got on the left?
What's going on, y'all? I'm Edosa. Good to be back. Glad to be on the podcast. Welcome to 7513. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. We still got a clip, real core, hardcore, Edosa core. That's the man with the words of wisdom.
Yeah, give y'all that fire.
Let's throw it across the room. Everybody, you know, strap in. You know, this is going to be a long intro if you're not new here, but go ahead and start, my friend.
So, you know what it is. It's your boy, Zomway. A.K.A. Promway. A.K.A. Dante. A.K.A. your mommy. Your daddy. Ike. Edosa.
Wait, hold up.
Tyler.
Okay.
Zomway.
Hey.
We don't play. Fine balls from Edo State. Ran the track like Edo say.
Hey.
A.K.A.
That's the second time you did that. We're never going to forgive you for keep doing that. Just leave us on a cliffhanger and don't say nothing. I don't like it. Hey, let them know in the comments.
No, that's where you use your imagination. Like, just fill it in.
Nah, that's crazy. But if you are watching us on YouTube, we do have a special guest in the house.
Yeah.
For those who are listening, you're just going to have to go check it out. But we're going to introduce the special guest here. You may have seen him in some advertisements, some promotions here and there. But he's right here, our number one model. We call him Manny.
Nani?
Number one Manny model. Manny. He always sports the latest Zonway gear and he makes it look good. So, Manny, we appreciate you for being here. Thanks for joining.
Hey, that was deep, bro.
That was deep.
I never even thought about that.
You guys
These guys are way with words.
Not to leave y'all too confused. If you are listening, we have our very own special Zonway mannequin.
Z-Man,
a.k.a. Manny, a.k.a. Yeah, so he's going to fill in. We put him in there for aesthetic purposes only. Like I said, he's a nice model. Excuse me. He's a nice model and he makes the set look, you know, nice, full and complete. But appreciate y'all for joining us here today. And if you are used to the show, you know that I always forget to introduce the producer as well. So,
that was good segue.
So I'm going to shout out the man who's tapping the button, my boy Tali. Tali on the production.
Yeah.
Tali, so you like it now? You know, you wasn't banging with the sparkles before.
I didn't like it, but you know,
It's growing on you.
Just accept it.
Okay, it's growing on you.
It grew on you. We let
That
it
sounds
see
like the SpongeBob imagination. Perfect. But also, if you're used to the show, you know, we start with some icebreakers. You know, you got warming up. Where's my torch? Where's my torch? Where's my torch? Find the torch. Yeah. Everybody put your hands to the candles. Yeah, nice and toasty. So we have a nice, you know, thought-provoking question here today. I think so. The question we got for the icebreaker today is, what is your favorite failure? Yeah.
My favorite failure.
So when I was
That's
thinking
too
about
deep.
this, it's real
is
deep. I
deep.
liked it. So your favorite failure is something that it was a failure. You sucked, fell flat on your face, but you learned a lot from it. You became a better man, a better person. You just became a better person all around from that failure. And while y'all think, I'm actually gonna go.
Dang, that's deep. That's a good question.
One of my favorite failures is, for those that don't know, I used to be a self-proclaimed professional barber. So I cut hair ever since I was in like the 4th grade. And I just learned by trial by fire pretty much. So my favorite failure, I'm gonna put an S on there. Favorite failures is cutting hair. The first client I'd ever had was myself, and I messed up multiple times. And then I graduated to cutting other people's hair, and I messed up.
That's crazy. You must
Not
as
as many times as myself, but it wasn't the best. You know, you go back and look at your old product, it don't look that good. Like the first song you ever made, Zomway, you probably like,
course, yeah.
nah, this production, this mix is dookie.
bad.
Yeah, so that's my favorite failure, because through that, you know, I learned how to cut hair like really well, if I do say so myself, and I save thousands of dollars by not having to go to a barber ever again. So that is one of my favorite failures. Now I can save generations to come in my own bloodline from suffering from having to pay for barbering. So every child that I have, they're not gonna have to go anywhere except for the bathtub, so I can cut their hair and get it done. So that's one of my favorite failures.
Sheesh. For me, favorite failure. I got there's two things that come to mind. They're both track related, but I think,
Of course,
typical. I know, right?
It's like, nah.
But I guess I can say probably one of my favorite failures was failing to make the Olympic team in 2021.
Ooh.
And as much as it hurt, it taught me a lot, right? It helped me realize that when you fail, it also makes you fearless as well. And so what I mean by that is, when you fail once, you know what failure feels like. So when it happens again, because you're gonna fail multiple times, it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah, it's kind of like a, did you die?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you die moment?
Yeah, for real. And that's what it'd be like. You didn't die though, and you know, it sucked. It stung. Still kind of stings a little bit, but it makes the comebacks that much sweeter when you are able to bounce back and stuff like that. And you learn so much more from failures, and not even just failing to make the Olympic team, but just bad races in general. There used to be a thing where I'd have a bad race, and if it's on film, I wouldn't want to watch it just because I didn't want to watch it. But then I saw an interview by Kobe Bryant, and he was like, you got to watch your bad performances because that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, okay, you know, I can start watching some of my bad performances and stuff like that, and just seeing, you know, where I could have went better. And, you know, I'm the type of person, I'm always bounce back regardless. I don't care how down bad I am.
Okay.
I'm going to bounce back. And I've realized that there's nothing I can't bounce back from.
Right.
And so,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
so yeah, man, failure is like, that's definitely something I'm going to teach my kids, like, to really not fear failure. And a lot of times we fear failure because we don't really fear failure.
Here we go.
We fear people seeing us fail.
Turn me up, Edda Secor.
Oh yeah, man.
Keep going.
Oh, and so when you realize that and you don't fail, or when you fail by yourself, you can bounce back quicker. But when people see you fail, it's like, oh man, this is bad. But then, when in all actuality, Bama's ain't even thinking about you that much.
Yeah, everybody was failing too.
Everybody
thinking about their
failing.
own failures.
Exactly. Everyone's thinking about their own failures. Shoot, people probably don't even know how to make the Olympic team in 2021. They probably don't even care. So we remember our own failures way more than other people remember our failures.
Facts.
So
Yeah.
That's good. I think I saw like a sports newscaster or something. Something happened where the newscaster like was talking really bad about a player or something, and then the more professional newscaster was like, you know, it's fine. We're gonna talk about it tomorrow, but after tomorrow, the whole world's gonna forget. So don't hold it over yourself.
Yeah, man.
Because it's chill. But
Failure
you
is
say,
just learning.
you say you had a second one.
Oh, yeah. So there was another time, this is probably my sophomore year of college, and to make the the NCAA championship, you had to go through this other meet called the regional championship. And
Actually, before you continue to tap into your point even more, the fact that his failures are achievements that none of us can even imagine or fathom, it brings the point so much further home. He's talking about the national team and Olympics.
Yeah.
People can only dream of even being close to those feat. So it drives your point home. Like nobody's really like thinking as much as you are.
right.
All of us was like, what?
And you don't even give yourself enough credit.
Exactly.
Like, you're literally
Exactly.
India. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so we run the regional meet and we run the 4x4 and top 3 automatically go. I run the anchor. They put me anchor this year. And
those that don't know,
For those that don't know, that's
anchor.
the last leg.
Okay.
And I get the baton at first place. And bruh, I bombed that joint. Jumped that joint so bad. This is probably
We're all rooting for you.
I know, man. This is probably my worst race this is probably the worst
Ever.
performance I ever put on. I was just
Yeah.
like, dog, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. And the problem too is that these meets come once a year. So because I failed to like perform well, we didn't make nationals that year. And we made it the year before. So I'm thinking, okay, we made it the year before. We can, make it again. And so I say all that to say, when that kind of failure happens, right, you have to wait a whole year just
Sit
for the
with that.
opportunity. You have to wait a whole
Sit
year
with that
and sit
for a
with that.
year.
You
Yeah.
got to sit with it for a year. I had to sit with it the whole summer. And then I had to wait a whole nother year just to get the opportunity of trying to go again. And by God's grace, we was able to go the following year.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
man, failure, you learn a lot from failure. And it just makes you hungrier. Like, I know for me, it definitely sparked a fire in me that...
Yeah.
that kind of carried me to this day. I was just like, I really want to set myself apart. I really want to be good at track. And
Right.
yeah, now
Been
we
paying off.
10 years. That was 10 years ago. So 10 years later, man. First of all, don't nobody remember that performance except for me, or maybe some of my teammates, if that. But
Yeah, the ones that was on your
Exactly.
Did they bring it up? They were like,
still
you remember
mad.
that time we was about to make nationals and you was looking like a injured ducklet and couldn't.
Man, so one of my teammates did bring it up years later, but the cool part was that the same relay, well, most of us on that relay that didn't make it, we made it the following year.
Oh,
So,
same 4 people.
It was 3 out of
Most
the
of-
4. Yeah.
okay.
So
So they forgave you because they
yeah,
you got
it worked. And it sucked because the 3 out of the 4 also made it the year before. So like, it was a lot. But
Yeah.
we thank God, man. Just failure, just use it as a learning tool, man. For real.
That's good. That's good. Z8AM weight on the block.
So I was thinking about like my favorite failure.
Favorite failure.
I don't think I would consider it favorite, but I think it was a beneficial failure because like in the moment it was trash. So I mean, just my whole, I would say, collegiate academic career. So like, for those of you guys that didn't know, I went to Howard University, Charlotte HU, or whatever. But
Can you hear it? All the people in the car yelling, in the car
Y'all ain't
on
know
the
what
way
it
home
is.
from work.
I ain't no ladies. But yeah, so like with Howard and everything, I mean, the general struggle. There's that. Number 2, I don't like school. And number 3, I was going to school for something I didn't really want to do.
Yeah.
So I was trying to be a pharmacist. And so I was doing like biology, chemistry, all that stuff.
The
and I was,
African dream.
but I was just slumming it up like all the way till my senior joint. And then long story short, like I had to repeat like twice. So I was like a super duper senior.
Super
Just because like I was just lost in college, like as far as academics. So
Yeah.
but with that being said, like I finally came to like a realization through one of my friends. They're like, hey, why don't you try IT? So I got into like a boot camp kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then from there, just kind of like started building my IT stuff. I got into like an entry position, and like fast forward about like 6 years later, like the position I'm in right now, if I was
Yes,
still
sir.
doing like pharmacy,
Be hating.
I was still like, man,
You be there.
I'll be making the money, granted, but like I'll just be so like tired, so busy. I can't do
Yeah.
like what I'm doing right now. Like with IT is so flexible and like
right.
you make your own schedule. And like I'm in government too, so like it's even sweeter, like it's
Yeah.
slow and everything. I was just like, why didn't I know about this like when I first entered college?
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
we
I think
African,
like
man.
that failure was good for me because yeah. I'm in IT now. As a
Yeah.
result,
That's good. I can't imagine you behind the CVS counter struggling and fighting customers.
that's not. I mean, no.
As they're yelling at you at
shout out
9
to
a.m.
everybody. Shout out to all the pharmacists out there that
Yes.
are doing it because like that's their thing. It's not my thing, man.
Man, the way they be
It's not my
disrespecting
thing.
these pharmacists today, all of you need to repent. All you people coming in at 8:30 a.m. yelling about your
That's the
prescriptions.
thing. Man. I'm not even like I'm
and
not.
you came late.
Bro, I'm not a people person like that, so I can't like.
Yeah, fake it.
I'm more like a very independent guy. So like IT is perfect. It's like you're with the people that you gotta work with,
Right.
and you're with a computer, and it's like as a
Man.
musician, that's how I be independent.
I feel like we should say a prayer for all the pharmacists out there, especially if you work at CVS, Walgreens.
Hey,
Man.
shout out my sister Ito.
Hey,
Big
Farm
man,
B,
Ito.
Big
Doctor.
Ito, not the
Ito.
little
Dr.
one.
Ito.
We're gonna be praying for you forever because there needs to be some grace there. These pharmacy customers are Lord will help you. Lord will help you.
Literally, that's playing in their mind every day.
Yeah, man. So it's funny that you said you wish you would have known, because that kind of plays into our topic. You wish you would have known about the other choices in life and college and everything like that. Because today we're actually talking about the power of mentorship. Yes, sir. The power of mentorship. Before we get started, I want to ask, is everybody on the pod, Edison, Zamway, Ike, I'm going to ask myself, we all got mentors, yeah?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
We find mentorship beneficial, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. So the first question is, why do y'all think, or why do you all appreciate mentorship? What benefits does it provide for those that are just out there living life waywardly, no direction, no nothing? What is the essentials of mentorship, and why do people need it?
Yeah, I can go. Mentorship, and that joint is sweet, bruh. I'm not even going front. Like, it's so, the fact that people can give you free wisdom.
Yeah.
Well, granted, some people, they have coaches that they pay for who could also give them wisdom as well. But like,
Yeah.
the mentors that are able to give you wisdom and put you on the things that they wish that they knew, and that you can avoid some of the pitfalls and stuff that people make
Yeah.
or they might have made themselves, is beneficial. And then on top of that, mentors are able to call things out of you that you might not be able to see in yourself. Like, there's so many things in my life that if it wasn't for like mentors and coaches, that I probably wouldn't be in today. Like, even some of my side of endeavors now, like, it was all because mentors and coaches called it out and said, you got a gift for this thing. You should try to do that. And so, yeah, man, that and then also people who can keep you in check and hold you accountable. Like, that's important when you live in life, by yourself and waywardly.
Yeah.
There's no checks and balances. No one's telling you, right from wrong, or no one's telling you to like do this or do that. But mentors, they can kind of keep you in check. And like, I remember one of my mentors, he was like, yo, man, your relationship with your brother, like, what's going on here? Like, some people don't know, some people probably don't even know y'all brothers. And I was just like, dang.
Man, I had to answer that question every time. They brothers? Who would have thought? I'm like, yeah, I don't know either. I could barely tell sometimes too.
Yeah, that joint, when he said that to me, I was just like, ooh. There was a stab in the heart, and I was like, nah, I gotta do a better job of just, not even just sibling relationships, just relationships as a whole, just learning how to network and stuff like that. Like, he really taught me. And also too, you don't have to have just one mentor neither. You can have several. Like I said, there's coaches. Like, I look at my track coach as one of my mentors. I have business mentors. I have spiritual mentors. There's several mentors for different. You have career mentors. There's a lot.
Yeah, and that's good. Honestly, I'm at this stage in life where if somebody don't got no mentors, I can't really trust them, honestly, because that means there's nobody
They're
looking out for you.
lawless.
You're lawless. I'm not going to wish that on nobody, but like, man, nobody's giving you no direction at all.
Yeah.
Like, what do you look to when you're trying to find like what path to go? Is it just Instagram Reels? Is it just the internet? Is it Twitter? Or sorry, X, whatever it's called nowadays? Like, who helps you? Like, who is guiding you in life? And a big thing with mentorship is like, when you have a mentor, you're pretty much saying this is who you aspire to be. Not in all aspects, but there are parts of that person you're like, this is who I aspire to be.
Yeah.
So now if you're a mentee of this person, you're like, yeah, I'm a mentee of Kevin Samuel. And I'd be like, oh, that's who you want to be? Okay. Have a nice day. Versus somebody else who, you know, is a real family man who faces his front, believes in God, and does all those things. You're like, I want to be like this person. And be like, okay, so you're trying to get here. Okay, I can trust like your mentality or your decision making and all of those things. So I'm like, bruh, male or female, I'm at the stage where it's like, if you don't got no mentors, I'm gonna look at you a little different.
Yeah.
So
I agree with what Edison was talking about, just about mentors seeing like number one, the potential in you as like a coach. So it's like, I liken it to like you're a football player or you're a basketball player, and you have the skills, but you don't really know
how to apply
how to use it to the fullest capacity it can be used all the time. And so that's when you have a coach that kind of knows like, oh, you should actually be like shooting more like this to be more efficient in your shots or whatever.
Yeah.
And then also just like mentors in general, they are people that are in places that you want to be.
Yeah.
So they know how to get there. They're already like at the top of that tree that you're trying to climb.
Right.
And so they've seen everything that you're going to see in the future anyways.
Yeah.
And so it's like, why not just go to them and ask like, hey, I'm about to, or like, hey, I just got married. So I'm dealing with this, that, and the third. How do you guys, or how did you deal with that when you guys started?
Right.
And so it's like, it makes so much sense. Like just have a mentor, like it makes your life easier. Like you have a template to look at kind of.
I call that advantage. I call that the youngest sibling advantage amplified. And what I mean by that is, as the youngest sibling, if you're the youngest of 2, of 1, of 3, of 5, you have people that have messed up before you. So you can ask them or you can see what they did wrong and then just not do that.
Exactly.
So that's why when people get to the youngest sibling, a lot of times they're like, oh yeah, he's spoiled. They can do whatever they want. Well, oftentimes a big part of that is they just know how to navigate.
GA said that the other episode. He just learned how to finesse.
Exactly. Either finesse or you just know how to navigate it a little better. Yeah, parents get tired. So there's a part of that. But you do learn from your siblings' successes and their failures as well. So a lot of times I think I would consider myself like a mix of my two. I'm the youngest of 3, of 3 boys. So I would consider myself like a mix of both of them, like in personality and academics and different stuff. Like there's qualities that I take from both of them. I'm just like, I'm in the shop.
Happen like that. I feel like the youngest sibling is always like the prototype,
right?
Like, the perfect blend child. Like that's the same with my brother Naima.
Yeah,
he's the youngest of us. Like I'm the oldest and Ito.
Right.
My
you
brother.
didn't have nobody before you. You just
I
had
make
to
all the
figure
mistakes, and everybody's watching me like, oh, bet.
Don't do
that.
that.
Not doing that.
You see this head like, oh, bet. I'm
So,
doing that times 2.
Yeah, the first sibling,
crazy.
All the failures. The second sibling, they can overcorrect. And then
and
they
still
can
get it
also
wrong.
mess up.
Yeah.
And then the third sibling, like, all right, let's see what's going on
Right
here.
in the middle.
Right in the middle. That's good. And that's essentially what you get from mentorship. You got people who have been there before. Like, you don't have to make the same mistakes over. Like, you're in this stage. The person is older. They're wise. I mean, if you select the right mentor, which we're going to talk about,
that too.
they're wise and you should trust their word. If you've selected them to be a mentor, why not tell them about the next stage of life? Why not pretty much avoid all the pitfalls before it even happens? So I don't actually think. What do you think? I don't actually think there's a negative to having mentors, because you can, if you don't like your mentor, you could always.
I would say maybe the negative is like if you rely too much on your mentor,
Right.
And like just asking them for everything, like,
Right.
oh, how do I do this? How do I do that?
Yeah.
And it's like you're not like taking things and like applying it, and because like that's the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
One end is like, oh, I don't have anybody I'm reporting to, so I'm just winging everything.
Yep.
The other thing is like I have somebody and I ask them for everything. I'm not even trying things myself or experimenting. So I think when you don't have that balance, that's when your mentor can kind of be like a crutch.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And then too, my mentors actually just told me this the other day, but he was just like, not all counsel is good counsel.
Nani?
And like, there's some mentors who might actually just lead you down the wrong path, and it's just like they might tell you to do
Sounds
this.
like coming from personal experience.
Oh no, not personal, no. But there might be someone who talks to you about this thing, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And then you do it, and you're like, dang, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. So I think that part, But yeah, other than that, and then to Wahide's point as well, like you don't have to be too dependent on your mentor neither. Like, don't ask your mentor what you should eat for breakfast every morning. Like, bro, just pick something and eat.
I think a good mentor would be like, boy, why are you asking me that? Exactly. You got a good one. But to that point where you're talking about leading down the wrong path. So a mentor, you know, you're not born with your mentors. And unlike your parents, you can't choose your parents. Yeah. You can choose your mentors. Mm-hmm. So what do y'all think is some things that people should consider or do when in the process of selecting a mentor or things of that nature?
Yeah, so I know I stated this earlier, but like have multiple mentors, right? Like I'm not gonna like you can have mentors for different stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not gonna go to my I won't say spiritual mentor, but yeah, I'm not gonna go to my spiritual mentor and ask him about track stuff. Like that doesn't he can't help me in that area. And so vice versa. I think just seeing people who are excelling in the area that you're currently in, right, and then asking them for advice. And the thing is, people will give you free advice all the time, especially if you ask them in a certain way, like, hey, you know, what were the steps that you took to do this, or what were the steps you did to do that? Yeah. And so just looking at people who you would genuinely trade places with, right, and just looking at that, and also just like I said, having multiples. Like if you're a multifaceted person, you know, seek out multiple mentors who can help you out.
Yeah. I was gonna say same thing. Like just basically diversify your portfolio.
It's your favorite word.
Yeah, diversification. Diverse. So like me, for example, like I have my dad as a mentor. Yeah. But I also have my uncle.
That's unique. A lot of people, you know, having your parent as a mentor is pretty cool.
Shout out my dad. So like I mean, the way that happened, I wouldn't consider him as being my mentor like when I was younger. Yeah. He's more so like a teacher and like just disciplinarian and like well, not disciplinarian, but like just teaching you and like
structure.
Yeah. But as you grow up and you get into like that stage, like as a man, it's like now you can start talking man to man. Mm-hmm. And so he could be like a mentor, like a coach. So now he's like my mentor, like coach, like advisor, kind of like I just run ideas by him. Okay. And then he's like, oh, well, I think you should do this, or I think you should do that. Yeah. But yeah, so I got my dad and I got Uncle Victor. And the thing that Edison was talking about with like diversification and everything is like they're kind of the same people, but I'll say like they're different flavors. Yeah. So like it's like my dad is like coffee, and then like my Uncle Victor, he's like vodka. So it's like both of those things they'll wake you up. They'll wake you up, but it's like one has like a way of like just more grounded, and the other one's like boom, like hey, this is what it is. Yeah. So like that's my Uncle Victor, just like straight up like telling you like yeah, this is what it is. And then it's like with Uncle Victor, he's an artist, so like he's a renowned artist, like painter, poet, everything. In a whole different lifestyle. So that talks to my like, cause I'm multifaceted, like you mentioned. So he talks to like more the artsy side of things too. So I'll go to him for that, and he'll have like more of an understanding. Like, all right, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. That's good. But like they both can talk to me like from like a man's perspective in general, because they're both husbands, both fathers. Yeah. So like don't have like just one kind of style of mentor. Even like spiritual mentors, like I would recommend honestly like for each kind of category. So like spiritual, like financial, house or whatever, career, everything. I would say like maybe like 2 in each. Like just so you get like kind of a different
perspective.
Yeah. But then don't overdo it. Because you don't want to have too many cooks in the kitchen. And it's like, there's like so many ways you could go about one thing. It's like, dang, what do I do?
Yeah, and the downfall with having too many as well is like, you don't really get to build with all person.
It's like having multiple barbers. Exactly. It's like you keep going to this bar, then go that, and no one really understands your head.
Learn your situation. See, I like that. That analogy talked to my heart. Yeah. But yeah, like because the mentors they grow with you. They understand how you think, understand the situations you get into, how you get into those situations. So if you talk to too many people, you're never gonna have somebody who actually knows you. You're giving parts of yourself to each person. But what Edison was talking about, what I wanted to throw in there as far as like picking a good mentor is actually picking somebody that you know who they are. Mm-hmm. And I think selecting a mentor is a deliberate, steady process. You don't just run up to the person like, oh yeah, I love what you're doing on stage and da-da-da-da. Can you be my mentor? Yeah. They're going to look at a good person at least. I think they'll look at you like, you don't really know me. Why do you want me to be your mentor? Is it because of what you see as a performance or a spectacle, or because you actually like the values that I uphold in life? Mm-hmm. So like before you select that person as your mentor, you should actually get to know them.
Yeah.
Go to their house, have conversations with them. You had the luxury of your uncle and your dad. You grew up with them, so you knew who they were. But like,
Yeah, those people you don't know, like just invite them to lunch or
Right.
like, hey, can we go for lunch?
But even before that, there was a point in time where you didn't see them as mentors, and you had to learn them in a different light. So you didn't have that before that time, and that is a part of, I believe, selecting mentors in that process.
Yeah,
Like,
get to know them.
ask them real questions, talk to them, see how they think. Do you like how they reason? Do you like the results that they get in life? Don't be asking somebody to be a relationship mentor and they're not even married. They don't even have nothing. They've been divorced 3 times. Why would you ask advice for somebody that doesn't know anything? Because you know how to put on a good suit.
Yeah.
Like, what are the values that you're actually looking at for a mentor? So those are the things. Like, break bread with them, laugh with them. Like, I need a mentor with a personality as well. Like, I don't want, I don't want Manny over here where I talk to him, he don't say nothing to me. Yeah, I'm coming for
Hey,
you,
he said
Manny.
so. You just not hearing him.
Nah, he chatting. He not saying nothing.
That's tough, bro. That's tough.
But yeah,
hard.
those are some things that I think about with selecting a mentor. I want to ask, like, how long you mentioned, like, what age did you like really figure out that you needed mentors, and then you actually acted on it? Because I know for me, it happened a couple years after college. I feel like in college, you just feel like, nah, I got it. I don't need nothing. I don't need nothing.
I agree. I feel like
That chip on your shoulder.
I think like in college, you understand like you do need some guidance, but you're not like really all the way into it. So I know like
Y'all
all
don't feel
of the
pressed.
young people in our church right now, it's like they're in that kind of stage, like they're in college.
Yeah.
So like they'll listen to us or they'll listen to the mentors, but they're still gonna do their thing.
Right.
And still like experiment and stuff like that. But I think like once you get out of college to the real world, quote unquote, and like your life is really hitting you, and it's like, all right, I actually do need to get some help for real and like talk to a mentor or something. So I feel like the same way. Like probably when I got out of college, I was like,
Yeah.
it's real.
Yeah, I think for me, what was I think when I was in grad school, I think so maybe about 24, 25.
Yeah, that's the right age.
Yeah, I think I was like 24, 25 when I asked my first mentor to be my mentor. And I think to Hide's point, like when you're younger, you kind of look at mentorship like, oh, this person's supposed to rule over me, and I don't
Cramping
I
my
don't
style.
want, this person's gonna be in my business and stuff like that. But that's not the case at all. And really, you end up my mentors don't even be in my business. I end up sharing my business with my mentors and just giving them updates and giving them like raw, honest, truth updates.
Right.
But yeah, I think 24, 25 is when I realized I needed a mentor.
The same. I think. Yeah, that's about the age. And I was gonna speak to the point of like, what was I gonna say? I was gonna speak to the point of like, you said that they don't be in your business, and that's because it's a mutual thing. Like it's not. They're not forcing you into the mentorship agreement,
Right?
So
you get what you're putting in. pretty
exactly.
much.
Yeah.
You, as I feel like any mentorship relationship, I feel like the mentee is the person that should be initiating it.
I agree.
Like there can be situations where, the person be like, yeah, let me take you under the wing. But there has to come a point where they have to be like, okay, I accept this thing as mentor-mentee relationship. And a lot of the effort does have to come from them. Because like, there was an example, like if you go to a doctor and you don't tell them what's wrong, there's no way the doctor can heal that thing that's hurting. So the same thing with mentorship relationship. They can't force you to share. They can't force you to want to be invested in the relationship.
Yeah.
I think it's important for them to step up because like when you do get a mentor, you also have to submit to the mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah, that's why I think like we don't get to that point until we get out of college because no one's really everyone's still trying to figure out themselves and trying to do their own thing. Like when you enter college, that's like your first real taste of freedom. Like, bro, I'm not answering to nobody.
Yeah,
so it's like,
nah, facts. Especially when you've been under your parents' roof for
the
so
whole
long.
all that's. It's
I ain't got time.
Yeah,
But to your
my time, bro.
Yeah, but then to your point, I agree with like the mentee has to be the one to really initiate it. Because even in my case, there's been times where, like I remember when I first asked one of my mentors to be my mentor, and I was hitting them up consistently and stuff like that. Then things kind of just fell off a little bit. But then it wasn't until maybe, I guess in recent months / years where I started like being more consistent and reaching out to them. And then also kind of like what I said before about having multiple. So there's some mentors who I meet up with like once a month if possible. And there are other mentors where I try to hit up, every 2 weeks or something like that to kind of give updates and stuff. And you definitely have to do your part and really reaching out to the mentor. And then also, like you said, being able to submit to them and stuff like that. And that could be a hard thing to do. It's still hard for me to even do sometimes because it's like, I don't want to do this. Like, especially if the advice is, if you know you need to do it and it's uncomfortable and it's hard to do, you're just like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Man, let's talk about that, man. Because, like, you want all the good part about the mentorship. Like, oh, yeah, do this. Yeah. Let's win. Like, I'm here to help you win. And then when they say one thing that's tough, you be like, bro, I don't want to mentor no more.
Right.
Oh, my God, corny. Tomato.
Exactly.
Tomato.
That's how it feels. And I actually felt that. And I mentioned, like, submission, and they told me to do something. And I was like, right, you just feel like, bro, you're not even listening to me. And they be like, nah, do this. Like, nah, you're not even understanding my side. Like, in your head and your heart, you're like, nah, you're not really understanding my side. I made the wrong decision. But I want to ask, y'all had the same, like, type of situation?
Yeah. So, like, me, I know, like, and I'm still, like, kind of working on it to this day. Like, just number one, being more intentional with who I call my mentor. Yeah. Because, like, that's the responsibility of me, like, to reach out and, like, call them, like give them updates and things like that. But to what you're saying, especially with like spiritual stuff, and just like, so especially like me talking with my dad or like Uncle Femi, who's my other, he's like more so like relationship with me and Lade and everything like that. So like they'll be telling me things, like you need to do this, do that. So like just encouraging me to be like the priest, be the leader and things like that. And with that comes a lot of responsibility, a lot of like like you got to break things down that you've been used to your whole life, and that's like the uncomfortable part that you're talking about. So it's like, bruh, I don't think I really need to do all that, but it's like you kind of do need to do all that. So like, I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna lie with y'all, but that's one of the things, like just consistency and like commitment to like just being a priest and being like the leader.
Right. That's why when you select your mentor, you got to be of sober mind. You got to know that I'm accepting everything that comes with this mentor-mentee relationship.
Yeah. You got to pick someone that's going to challenge you too. Like, you don't want a yes man just checking off everything you already want to do anyways.
Right.
Someone that's literally going to keep you accountable and just like, you actually need to do this, or you actually need to stop doing that.
Right.
Yeah. Nah, facts. I remember it was one time for me, when I went to, it was like last week. He said, "Yeah, this is what you did wrong," and I was like, "Dang,
you right."
I was like, I could have did that, but like rebuke, it hurts. Like it don't feel good.
Sucks,
and
bro.
Like I said, in the beginning where I talked about how like with the relationship with my brother and stuff like that, when he was like, "Yeah, I don't see y'all interact," I was just like, "Dang." And especially when you hear it from when you hear it within the family is one thing, but then when you start hearing it from like other people, it's like, all right, maybe there's a pattern here or whatever. Right. And that Jane was a heart check, because it was like, dang, like you really need to, it's something you really gotta work on. And the fact that he was able to point it out, it was like, okay, let me actually be more intentional in this route. And now me and my brother, like, we cool, it's tough.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh my God.
Shout out to my man, he actually just bought a house and so
shout out to my man. That's actually my best friend, by the way. Hey Sammy, if you watch it, I love you, bro.
We miss you at home.
Yeah, son.
But I know we've been talking about like the perspective of mentorship when you're the mentee. Now I want to flip it. I want to ask, do y'all have any mentees? Are y'all mentors to anybody, would you say?
Man.
So I do, yeah.
Officially? Like they came up and asked, like, can you be my mentor? Or is it unofficial?
So the thing is, like, all the people that I'm mentoring, quote unquote, are in that stage where like they're not gonna say you're my mentor, but like you are coming up to me and like, hey, or like if I'm telling you do this, then you're gonna listen most of the time, so I would say I have people that I'm mentoring or like pouring into. This is what when we were talking about like that stage earlier on, I was thinking like with mentors, they see potential in certain people, and so they're still gonna like help you and advise you and be around up until you get to that self-realization moment like, hey, I need to be a mentor. So, or I need a mentor. So I feel like that's the stage I'm in. I'm kind of like just watching and like being there when they need advice. Yeah. So I would say I do have mentees, like people that I'm watching that I see potential in, and like, yeah, I'm gonna make sure you're doing good. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
But they ain't signed on the
but
dotted
they
line
haven't
yet.
they haven't made it official yet. So
That's crazy.
Nah, I had one. So
Have
it was.
or have?
I've had. See this. I'm gonna say have, right? 'Cause we don't talk like that. But he actually asked me like,
Yeah.
"Will you be my mentor?" And I was like, "Dang,
oh snap.
whoa."
Did you feel old when he asked you that?
A little bit. A little bit. I was kind of like, dang, like you look at me in a way that you actually want me to be your mentor
it's
and stuff like
honoring
that.
too.
Yeah, and so like I was more consistent with reaching out to him before, but then he don't be, you know, young people, bruh. When you hit them up,
Yeah.
they don't be responding. So I'm like, bruh, this joint.
And that's why I take effort on their side. You don't want to feel like you forcing it.
Yeah, exactly. But then there was another time where he's not like my official mentee, but he definitely comes to me for like different things, advice and stuff like that. Because he's an athlete too. And so he's like, okay. I remember one time he hit me off the ram like, yo, can I call you real quick? I got something to tell you about. And I was like, yes! Finally!
Proud
reach out.
mentee.
Reach out. But it's funny too, because like, my mentor talks about, you know, pouring into people under us all the time.
Yes.
And so it's definitely like, when we're so focused on like getting fed, it's important that we're also pouring into other
Feeding
people
other
too.
people.
Yeah, man. And it can be a hard thing because some of these kids, man, they do one thing and then
They don't listen.
you don't listen. And you hit them up, they don't be responding for days. And you be like, bruh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you really just gotta be patient with them. And it's a
Yeah.
journey for sure, but it's also an honoring journey too. The fact that you can even pour into them, that you have enough wisdom to be able to do so. And it feels good.
Yeah, that's good. I know we talked on this podcast more than once about the 3 levels of like accountability. Like you got somebody you're looking towards, your mentor, you got people on your same level, everybody on the 7513 the podcast, and then people you pouring into, mentees. So that's definitely important because as the mentor, I think it really challenges you to make sure that you have your stuff in order.
Yeah.
Because you can't be pouring into somebody, telling them one thing and then doing the opposite.
Facts.
It's kind of like the effect that happens with this podcast. Like when we having topics and then I know I'm not following it all the way, I'm like, nah, let me go
Bro,
repent. Let me go check myself.
That part, bro.
Nah, facts.
So-
I be thinking that all the time.
Yeah, so that happens consistently when you have a mentee. Like you know that people are watching you. It's not just about you. Like people are looking up to you. So everything you do, it carries more weight.
Yeah.
It's not just about you. Like people are watching your footsteps, watching your moves. Just by you acting and not saying nothing, you could lead somebody down the wrong path. So that's one of the benefits of being a mentor. It kind of sharpens you to make sure that you're doing what's right. And I feel like I'm the only one that didn't talk about if I got mentees.
Well, actually,
So no, I don't have any, but having a couple of admirers, and I felt good. Like Edison was talking about, I was like, what? Because for those that don't know, I'm only 26, but yeah, nice baby face. But people say I got some things to say. They say I got some bars, a little bit of wisdom here and there. So it did feel good, and it did make me feel old a little bit. One of the people that asked, she was like, like you young, but you really an old head. And I was like, I was conflicted. I didn't know how to feel. But I took it, the right way. It's like, okay, he just says I have wisdom and less words than, I don't know how to say that, in different words pretty much. But like you said, the people that would consider me to be a mentor, they're probably in college and in that stage where they're like, nah, I don't want to be pressed and actually ask. I don't want to seem like I'm doing too much. Anybody who's in that stage, asking for a mentor is not doing too much. It means you really got your head on straight and you're trying to win at life. So
the thing about that too is like when you see that as the mentor. So like I've seen that before, and I see like you can tell like based off of like how they're asking you questions,
right,
and like just watching them like what they're doing. So like usually as the mentor, I feel like it's important to just do your part or do their work for them for now. So like,
what do you mean by that?
So I know like there's this one guy that's like, and he's like he's a musician as well. And so he's asking me all these questions. Oh, how did you get this? How did you do that?
Right.
And then he's like, oh, I want to feature with you on this. And I'm seeing like, yeah, that's not, I know what you're trying to get, but that's not what you need right now. Right now you need this, that, and the third. And so, but he's not going to be like, oh, can you show me that? He just wants results. And so I'm going out my way like, hey, let's go have lunch and let's talk and like just talk about life in general.
Yeah.
And just see where your head is at. And so that's why I mean, like, as the mentor, you have to kind of see what is needed and just take that initiative for them until they grow out of that mentality and like become more intentional.
Yeah. I also think in that though, as the pseudo mentor or the person who potential mentor, I think to also guard your own heart, because I think Edison was talking about, oh yeah, they don't listen. Like there has to be commitment on the other side. I think there's a part that we have to play to lock them into a 360 deal. Like we have to.
Oh my God.
What part is that?
Like you have to really ask them. Like, yeah, you're really interested. Like you're asking all these questions and things like that. Like, have you considered just like having a mentor? You don't have to say it's you, but have you considered having a mentor? Because I think
that's good.
All the things that you're asking and how you're going about it is symbolizing of you want a mentor. So have you given it some thought? And there's some things like, you know, I really want to help more, or things that I really would want to pour into you, but I have to know that you're serious pretty much.
That's actually good, yeah.
So that's like...
So you're not wasting your time.
Exactly. You don't feel like you're wasting your
energy,
time.
yeah.
Because, you got to give them all...
Because be busy,
Yeah. And then they can get into the habit of, like, getting all the answers, like, fast. Like, they ask you something, and then they leave, and they come back when they have another issue. And you're like, how did you even get to this issue? I probably could have helped you avoid the issue altogether if we was actually, like, shooting in the gym. So...
That's good.
That's yeah. Any last words, Manny? You want to say something?
That's good. That's hard.
Oh my! Hey, clip that. Chat. That's the title. That's the title of this episode right now. Clip that. But nah, man, I appreciate y'all for having this discussion. I think it was it was a lot of food for thought in here. Anybody got some last words? I feel like I want some.
We're rounding up.
Yeah, we got some Edison core here.
I don't think we went into the peer-to-peer joint.
Peer-to-peer? Is that mentorship?
It's not mentorship. But
all right, hold up.
It's part of the three.
If you thought we was
three
ending,
levels,
that was I was playing. It was a joke. It was
hey,
a
bring
joke. Yeah. Yeah. Bring it back. Yeah. Lean back. Hey. Lean back. Hey. All right, let's throw that in there before. Yeah, let's throw that in there. Is that mentorship, peer to peer?
I mean, it's not really mentorship. It's more so accountability partnership.
Yeah, it's like partnership.
Yeah, I think those
like
are
teammates.
Yeah,
like on the same playing field.
Yeah, I think those are important too. I have have y'all and some other people as well. Like they be rebuking me sometimes too. They be like, we gonna have to. Nah, this thing right here isn't good.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to accept, all right, from their perspective, like, all right, maybe this thing right here I'm doing really isn't good. Or just hearing like another opinion in general can often help. Like, you don't have to listen to everybody, but I do think, having some outside perspective looking in can definitely help. And I think that's what like the level playing field or the level accountability partner can help with. And it can be in multiple areas as well. You can have a spiritual accountability partner. You can have career accountability partner. You can have business. Just any type of category for real. So
only accountability I need is to count them dollars. I'm joking.
Yes, sir.
Nah, that's funny. Accountability partners or accountability. It doesn't even have to be like partners. Just people that can check you.
Yeah,
and aren't just like you
just
said,
real friends.
Real friends.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Just not yes men. Like if your friends agree with everything you have to say, you need to revisit. There's no way y'all could be on that one accord. Are you married? Even people who are married don't agree on everything. So what's going on?
Bro, speaking of marriage, like, so for me that's married, like I would say like my wife fits into that role. And it's like,
shout out Lade.
Hey, but yeah, just like, it's really, like marriage is really tough because you oftentimes you're partnering with someone that is compatible, but is also like, they look at life completely differently from how you look at it. They interact with people and things like that differently. So like with Lade, she's more emotional. She's more in touch with like people and everything like that. And me, I'm very like logical, analytical, like in my head, reserved. And so like she acts as like a mirror for me. Like, yo, this is what you actually are. Like, this is what you've been thinking. Like it's been your whole life, but like it doesn't always work out like that. Like try this way or try that way. Yeah. And so she challenges me like in that regard. And then like just having like friends like to rely on like in time of need, like you mentioned, like everybody here, like Tyler, when I didn't have it. So I recently got a job.
Yeah.
I was out
Yes,
there.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But yeah, just
sir.
like just to be vulnerable, like 5 months unemployed, and it's like life starts lifing.
Yeah.
And so you need people like around you, like just to keep you up, like encourage you
Yeah.
when you're down, like shoulder to cry on type stuff. So
Yeah.
and then like another person I'm thinking about, like Ahizale, my cousin,
Right.
Willie 15.
That
It's
boy
like,
is a walking ball of motivation.
right. I got yeah. Shout out Ahizale, bro. But like someone like him, where like me and him, we're in a lot of the same, or we're in a lot of the similar seasons, I would say. So like we both got married around the same time, like
yeah.
similar year. Both got our house around the same time. Both in IT, both doing music.
Yeah.
And like that's my cousin. So like we've grown up like since almost birth.
Right.
And so like having someone like that, that's like I literally mentioned, like a teammate, is like we're both on the same playing field.
Yeah.
Like we're both learning like our own different ways. And then it's like study hall almost. It's like, hey, I learned how to do this way. Like this is how you can save money on whatever. Or this is the type of furniture. Like that's what he was telling me about. When I got my first house, like, hey, you should get this type of joint. You should get. So it's not really mentorship, and then that's not even like accountability. It's more so like just, I guess,
Friendship.
yes, friendship. I need your joint. The chimes.
Beautiful.
But yeah, it's just like just teach one, like iron sharpen iron.
Yes, sir.
That's actually the perfect one. Iron sharpens iron, and that's
So-
honestly what mentorship can do, man. And
it's biblical.
it is
Yeah.
biblical. Somewhere in Proverbs, I forget the exact
As
verse.
iron sharpens iron, show a friend something to another friend.
Yeah, something
like
along
that.
the lines. Y'all can
Google
go,
it.
yeah, Google it. Go ahead and read it. If you just type in iron sharpens iron, the verse will come up.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask though, like, how, I guess, was accountability difficult for you for your mentor? Like,
What do you mean, like being honest with the mentor?
yeah, like, was that a challenge for y'all, and just making sure that y'all are constantly checking in with them and stuff
For
like
me,
that?
it was, and for me, it still is. But I mean, it's gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
Like just accountability in general, and just like trusting other people, like what's going on in my mind,
Right.
and just being vulnerable.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
has been a struggle. Like just, I mean, I remember talking about it a little bit, like in the emotions podcast
Yeah.
episode or something.
Yeah.
About, men not crying and stuff like that. So like just getting, or unlearning that, and just relearning, like, or learning better habits, like being vulnerable, being open, checking in with people more often, and like telling people more about like what you're going through, and being like more open. So yeah, it's not easy for me.
For me, it wasn't challenging. When I did select my mentors, it felt like more like relief. It was like finally I could say all of these things, and it felt reassuring because they're older than me. One is much older than me, and then when they be like, "Yeah, I understand you," it is like I start melting. I'm like, "Yes, he gets me." He gets me. So it took me a while to select a mentor, but when I got to that point in life, that time, like I guess it came natural. I just felt better being able to share it and know that somebody understood, and they're like, they're looking out for me type of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What about you?
it's a mix of both. I think early on it was definitely more like a Hide, where it's like I was kind of afraid to share everything, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
For fear what they'll say or
that,
how they
and
look
then
at you.
that, and then also just I don't know. I don't like people in my business, so it's like
Yeah. Just fear of people in general, because you
Yeah.
never know, like anything, like people are people at the end of the day. So
yeah,
like you don't know if your secrets are getting out, like
Yeah,
in
'cause people
pillow
be talking.
talk or something, or just something like.
Yeah.
So I was like, man,
yeah. So
it
like
took a
just
while.
fear of that, and then just I guess also being ashamed of the situation that I was in. I
Right.
think is another big one. Like I remember
Damn.
before when, what's it called? Like when you're going through something, you're like, I don't like telling people that I'm going through this. But then, like
Yeah.
you said, when they realize that, oh yeah, I went through the same thing, you're like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness,
Start crying.
I get
man.
it. Like wow, somebody else has gone through this too, or even if they haven't gone through it, but they just understand your point of
Right.
view. You
Yeah.
like, yes,
Yeah.
You hear me.
you
I
hear
feel
me.
heard.
Like
I'm
and it's-
seen.
exactly, and it feels good to be seen and heard and stuff like that. And so, I think now it's a lot easier for me to open up about certain things and even being comfortable sharing like some of my goals and desires and stuff like that. Like I have a coaching mentor who I'll be sharing like some of my goals and desires and stuff like that in that space. And at first it was hard to like, it's like in my mind, I knew what I wanted to do, but sometimes telling it to other people was sometimes a burden for me because it's like how, like I knew I always had a confidence in me, but it's like saying it out loud to another person, like they might shut this joint down. Like, this idea is dumb. But then the fact that they're able to encourage me and stuff like that, it's like, okay, this is cool. And so I think just being more confident in sharing what I'm going through and realizing that people are, like Hide said, people are going to be people.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it's not, people are going to disappoint you. They're going to fail you. And it's just a matter of learning how to be able to handle that disappointment and failure. So that's something that I've been able to try to do. Like people are going to hurt you in this life, and just building the resilience and fortitude to learn how to handle it when it comes.
Yeah.
It's biblical too. The person that asked Jesus, how many times should we forgive our brother? He said 7 times 70, my brother. Yeah. That means you should expect people to fail, and you need to live life expecting to hand out grace to people, because nobody's perfect. Not even your mentor you aspire to be like. So
that's true. They're not perfect.
Yeah. That's really good. So am I safe? Can I?
No.
I can. Hey. Yeah. Oh, okay.
No, that was a break. That was a break.
We gotta shut the whole studio down. We gotta shut the studio down.
Hey, you got anything to say?
Manny, last words? Oh my goodness.
That's all right.
Hold up, Manny.
Hey, he about to take your job, bro.
Run it. Hey, you want this seat?
That's tough.
Okay, you said hold off next season? All right, bet. We're going to hold you to it. But thank you all for joining, for tuning in. I'm your host, Ike, joined with Edelson, joined with Zamwe and Hide, aka. And with that, it's a wrap.
See ya. We don't want to be ya.
Yes, sir.
Have a beautiful time.
Hey. Okay.
Different time, different place. Hey, this ain't yesterday. Hey, devil or I can't come run away. Jesus the homie, he know where I stay. Mi casa su casa, I say it in Spain. I'm known for shaking the room when I pray. I'm known for setting it off when I pray. I'm known for breaking it loose when I pray. Tap in with the Holy Spirit face to face. This ain't perfect time and this is grace. Grateful. I look up and I thank him.
Let's start with the producer. What we talking about here?
Yo, man. You know.
Hey.
Son, look, another episode gone. I was producing this time.
Yes,
I help
sir.
bit, you know what I'm saying? But you know what? Shoot it to my pretty boys over there.
Hey, it's your boy Ike. So thanks for
Imposter.
We got our man's Manny here.
Okay. What you gotta say for the people? Okay.
Like, comment, and subscribe down here. All that jazz. Follow
Yeah.
7513 the podcast.
Somewhere right here.
Collective.
Yes,
With
sir.
Us, man.
Go ahead, spit some. All right, y'all. Y'all heard what the crew said. Like, comment, subscribe. Again.
Yeah.
Share. All that good jazz. Let's get the engagements up.
Yeah.
See y'all later.
See ya. Yeah.